These are the bosses now where we start having multiple fucking slides per boss. This is looking like a pug killer. Painsmith, the cock and ball BDSM boy, he was definitely a pug killer, but this is also the second pug killer. But this is an alternating two-phase fight, so you have, and it has weird like phase times, but it's 85%, 60%, and 35%. And between each phase 1, you have a phase 2 or intermission. Each intermission is the same. Each phase 1, apart from the final phase 1 from 35% to dead, is different, but every other is the same. And interestingly, phase 1 is very, very easy on this fight. So basically, the tanks have yet another Zymox Mythic mechanic where they run out with the circle and it spawns an ad. This ad fixates the tank and just chases them. If it reaches the tank, it like gets consumed and does like a big red dot or something like that. But it can be kited infinitely as long as another ad doesn't spawn, and it can be like CC'd in every way possible. So all you would do is just kite it under the boss, have it slowed, stunned, whatever, and just cleave it down. Maybe hard swap it, depending on tuning, but who knows. If 2 go up as well, you will take a load of damage, so we actually do want to kill it before the second one spawns. Then other than that, we have big circles. You can't see them on here, but basically big white circles. That's the tank mechanic in that GIF. And you just take them to the edge. And we take raid damage now every time this mechanic goes out, which is the addition of raid damage to this fight. But the thing with the circles is they will stay there. They'll become invisible, but the next time he does this mechanic, the 3 original ones that you spawned will be there. So eventually in phase 1, like your floor space is going to be covered, and you need to save space, move the boss a lot maybe. And I assume it means you'll take increased raid damage from it as the fight goes on. And then the only other thing then in that phase is what you can see in the GIF. What's this called? Fated Conjunction. Basically these beams that go across the room in like a bow tie shape. It's horribly telegraphed if you ask me, and I got hit by it a load in testing. But the good thing is, if you get hit once, it doesn't do much damage, but it leaves you a debuff, which means if you get hit a second time, you get 1 shot. So there are times, I think, unless they've really changed the tuning on this, that you may actually want to take this. For example, if we get an overlap of the circle drops and you're in a really bad spot, you could just personal up and just take the double damage, rather than like trying to blink out or whatever and smack half the raid with the circle, for example. But that depends on tuning, whether or not you would want to take these. And in the last phase 1, we'll call it phase 3, there also might be a case for that, but I'll explain that later. You probably just want to watch like a video of how these spawn, but it's always in this pattern, just different orientation around the room. And if you did Zakul Mythic, it will kind of remind you of that, I guess. But yeah, that's phase 1. So let's say we get to 85%. And then if you want to read this, it's just Wowhead's tips on how to do this. But phase 2, the boss goes to the middle of the room and pushes us all back. He can still be attacked actually when he's pushing you back, but basically what he'll do is spin 3 on heroic, maybe more depending on group size. But he'll put a few of the runes or the rings into action. So you can see here, there's 1 ring, there's a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and you can see the space between them. This doesn't count as the ring. And what's going to happen is there'll be like a slot in there. I don't have a picture of it, but it's like a little square blue slot. These are represented by the smiley faces, and a little orb, which you have to push the orb into the slot, so like that. And if an odd number of people go in it, it goes clockwise. If an even number of people go in it, it goes anti-clockwise. So to make this easy, that's either 1 person to make it go clockwise, 2 people to make it go anti-clockwise, and you just make it go round into the slot. Nice and simple. So I'm not sure how this is going to work, but the Dungeon Journal makes me think that on Heroic, it's going to assign people randomly to be able to do this. When we tested it, we could just choose me, Peter, and whoever the third person was to do this every time, and then just call someone in for backup if they needed to rotate it the other way. But as long as you can do this in 50 seconds, you don't get instantly one shot. And then if you're not doing the circles, you just sort of stack near the boss and like grab ads in and keep them CC'd and kill them. There's also orbs going around which you need to dodge, which will like make you slow. And the outside rings, obviously, they have a bigger circumference, so they spin slower. And the rest of the rages stand between two rings here in the middle, I reckon, is the best way to do this. And that's it, basically. So do I have a slide for... No. So for phase 3, the third time you enter it, you're basically just doing phase 1, but now periodically the boss will enable 1 or 2 rings which need to be sorted within 30 seconds or 40 seconds, or you wipe. Which can be a bit scary when you have this mechanic, Fated Conjunction, going on. But it depends on the specific overlaps, which I'll see later. But basically, as long as everyone can sort of wrap their head around how this works, I'd recommend, I don't know, watching a video or something if you didn't understand from how I explained it. Then it shouldn't be a problem to kill this, because the actual phase 1 is a complete joke, and other than the rings, phase 2 is a joke as well. And we just do this 3 times, and then it's the last phase where you just lost and burn the boss before anything scary happens anyway. Anyone want to clarify anything here, or any questions?
I think Kalani's video said it was 40 seconds you had, but regardless, it's still easy as fuck.
Oh, really? Okay. I thought it said 50 seconds on the...
It does on Wowhead, but Kalani says 40 seconds for some reason.
Okay, well, I guess we'll see later when it goes live.
The Echo Guide said 40 as well, pretty sure. And 30 for the last phase.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Again, I don't think it matters too much, but yeah, that's interesting. So it is possible, like it says here, you can go around in a 75% of one way in the time. So for example, in this case, let's just imagine this was like basically here. Like you could probably just about in the 50 seconds if you started immediately go the wrong way around. However, you just always want to make it go the closest way, and you just identify as soon as possible, you know, oh, I have to do the second ring or the closest ring to the middle. And if it's just me, I'll rotate it this way, which is slower. So you just say, I need one person to come to, and say whatever ring you're in. And person comes in, stands in it with you. It's a little bit finicky to make it go the other way, and you just run on the orb together until it's in the slot. Again, I would definitely recommend watching even just a POV of people doing this in phase 2 just to see the exact like way it looks and how it works if you have time. But it isn't that hard. We figured it out pretty quick while testing.
This might be a stupid question, but do the bigger circles take longer to like rotate?
No, they actually they relatively rotate at the same speed. So, for example, 75% of the outside ring would take 75% of the inside ring. But the outside ring goes a lot faster, so you need like a movement speed, like, I don't know, a cat form or something to actually be able to keep up with it, going around the outside.
Okay.
And then you'll notice the middle one goes really, really slow. It's like quite deceptive. But yeah. So like relatively low, like if you take it in percentage, they move at the same speed. If that makes sense. It's probably a horrible way of phrasing that, but whatever.
Yeah, I understand.
I can't actually remember. Did it randomly give people a thing where they had to be the individuals doing the rings?
No. So when we tested it, we just chose, and the way because it was always 3 spawning at the same time with our small group, I just said, I will always take the furthest one out. Peter will always take the middle one, and I don't remember who it was.
It was
will
me.
always take... Yeah, Milo will always take the one which is closest to the middle. And then if any of us need a backup, we'll just call one person. For example, I was always calling Yan. God knows who everyone else was calling. And that's how we did that. But if it's like it chooses random people to do it, then we'll need to just talk a bit over Discord whenever it goes out. That's all that needs to happen.
If it's not, and there's no...
They've added a spell in the Dungeon Journal.
Yeah, that's why they added Runic Affinity, which is the originally the Mythic mechanic, which chooses people at random. So that, but obviously it was never tested in Heroic with that in there, so it's assumed that it will be random people getting selected, and we'll have to actually communicate. However, that it could be a mistake. Yeah, we just don't know until it goes live.
That'd be weird, yeah.
Just make a Vigor do it.
Just make a Vigor do it.
You might be able to.
Because the backup thing will be very awkward then, right? Calling for them. Whereas if it's like anyone can do it, you can literally just set like, middle would be me, and then if it needs to go in the other direction, like Bab comes in as the other person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You just need to, again, it could be like a boss where we actually need to talk, but it just depends, and I'll be able to get back to you when we actually get there and when the NA guilds have killed some bosses, but yeah, all right. I'm gonna move on to the next boss, which is where I have a lot of slides for these last two.